You know, the rain in Spain makes talking. I am going. Hello and welcome back to the new KTV studio. My name is Barnaby Chadwick, and after the valiant efforts of the VP for Welfare and Education, we now move on to activities and sports. So, once again, this is Candidate Question Time 2014. And the running order for this evening goes as follows. Today we start with activities who will come up for 2-minute speeches. We will go candidate by candidate, and after they have made these speeches, we will then move on to questions which go to the groups and the individuals, for which the candidates will have 1 minute each to answer. Now don't forget, I am not doing this on my own. I am doing this with the loving assistance of Daisy Steinberg and her social media team in the aptly named Social Media HQ. Daisy?
Hello, we are here and ready to take any of your tweets and messages this evening. They can get in touch many ways. You can get in touch on Twitter with the hashtag CQT and then the position you want to, whether that be activities or sports. You can do the same on Facebook. You can watch us and leave a comment on YouTube, or you can go to our website on www.ktvlive.co.uk and fill in our form there, and we'll be ready for you.
Thank you very much, Dave. Yes, that's right, guys. You can get in touch with any form of social media, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, and there's even an anonymous form. It's whatever you like. But don't forget, guys, these people in front of me are going for union leadership positions, which means their policies and manifesto points are integral to your experience at university. So if you do have a question for them, don't hold back. Let us know, and we will let them know. But without any further ado, we move straight on to the speeches. And if I am not wrong, the first speech will come from Mr. Tom Curry. Tom.
Oh, sorry, I completely forgot about that. You may have seen me about on campus, setting up collection points for the term collection drive, running a free shop on campus, or holding a weekly enviro outside Essentials. If not, then let me introduce myself. My name's Tom Curry, and for the past 2 years I've been the Environment Officer for Kent Union. The reason I became the Environment Officer is because I passionately believe that as students we can make a difference and we can build a better tomorrow. In the same way the smallest river can carve the largest gorge, the smallest seed grow into the largest tree, and in the same way the smallest wave can topple the largest cliff, a single student can make a difference. Whether it's plant boxes in Darwin, cigarette end bins outside Elliot, or glass boxes in Parkwood. For the past 2 years, I've done everything I can to build a better tomorrow for our campus environment. The time has now come to elect a VP Activities, a person who has the power to change not only our environment, but our entire union and university. Ultimately, you have one vote, so make it count. Vote for a candidate who has a proven record. Vote for a candidate you can believe in. And vote for a candidate who will not rest until we have that better tomorrow. So for a better university, a better union, and for a better tomorrow, put Tom Curry number 1. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tom. And next up to the podium is Chris Mattison. Chris.
There are over 200 student groups on campus, a host of volunteering societies, as well as RAG, sports club, and student media. With each of these groups running different events each week, that's an incredible number of events that are going on at any given time across campus. But students still aren't hearing about these events. As a society president, there is nothing more frustrating than when you know you're running a great event and people aren't coming because they haven't heard about it, they don't know where you are, and you know that they would have had a brilliant time if they'd have come along. I'm running for this position because I want to put student groups back in the spotlight. Publicity and advertisements are two of the key areas that everyone here is going to talk to you about tonight. But by grouping these ideas under the new banner of Spotlight, I believe we can ensure greater awareness of our student groups on campus through student media, conferences, showcasing, and large-scale events across both of our campuses. From my role on Society's Executive Committee this year, I have seen the benefits of peer-to-peer feedback, and I believe that if we keep pushing peer-to-peer feedback, we can get our volunteers to share ideas and their best practices. This will establish a better tier of communication so that as VP activities, I will know the issues that face different student groups on campuses and know how best to respond to these. For many of us, activities is what has defined our time at university and should be open to all students. Activities are where students form their friendship groups, develop their employability skills, and discover really what makes them passionate. Elect me for someone who is going to put the activities and volunteering that students do back at the heart of our union. Elect me for someone who will give every student group at both campuses the opportunity to be in the spotlight.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chris. And next up is Philip Stevenson Oliver.
Let's make sure we can get in. I'm quite tall, unfortunately. Hi there, I'm Phil, and I'm running for Vice President Activities. I've been LGBT officer for nearly a year, co-chair of the LGBT campaign, and president of CLS. I've served on society committees for 3 years now, and last year I co-wrote the Societies Federation Review, which has vastly improved the administration and oversight of societies. Societies and volunteering are one of the most important aspects of life at Kent. For many students, they are what make the university experience so rich and rewarding. To see my society grow from nothing at the start of this year to have around 40 members has been one of the proudest achievements of my time here at Kent. However, out of a university of more than 20,000 students, only some 5,000 are actually involved in any way with societies, sports clubs, or volunteering. That is why I'm running, because in my mind, too many students are missing out on one of the most valuable university experiences. For many of our third year's members at CLS, it is the first society they've joined, and they regret not having been involved in societies sooner. That is why I want to have a Kent Union handbook in every first year's room, a catalogue of societies, sport teams, and volunteering groups which they can get involved with, a guide to what Kent Union is, how it operates, and how they can get involved and really make a difference. I also put a real drive into the advertisement of freshers and refreshers fairs, where students have the opportunity to actually get to know these groups, as well as get some free pizza. I also want volunteers to have their achievements recognised more in their education by giving degree credits for KSCV Gold Award, and more widely in student community through club pages in choir and prominent notice boards in every college. If you want real improvement, real progress, take a Phil pill and vote for me. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Philip. And then next up is Clarissa Place.
I am not as tall. Well, hello everyone, good evening, happy Pancake Day. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm Clarissa Place and I'm running for VP Activities. I've ran for VP Activities because being on the Medway campus, you notice things that maybe other people have and you want them. And being part of a society for 3 years, I have been president of the Events Society, president of dance, PR of dance, member of the Soccer Com committee, and also secretary of drama. I've had such a fulfilled experience on a society council, and it's the most wonderful thing that a student can experience apart from getting a degree and getting a job. But that experience isn't open to everyone. What I want to do as VP Activity is making societies visible through collaboration of society events, and that could be the same societies on both campus. For me, when Kent Dance invited my dance society over, I felt welcome, and that is the thing that I want all students to achieve. Student volunteer satisfaction. You know, over 100,000 hours were achieved last year by students on the Kent campus. And we can do so much more because there are so many students who are not aware of what you can achieve skills-wise or the volunteering opportunities on the campus or in the community. More training, training that suits your roles so that you understand everything that you need to do so you can run a successful society. And for Medway, making sure the new C4 building is what you want. More social space. And, well, VP Activities. Vote place for VP Activities. Kent Union's going to be going places.
Thank you for that, Clarissa. Next up is Jonathan Easton.
I'm sort of in the middle as far as height goes. Hi, my name is Jonathan Easton, and I'm running to be your next VP for activities. I'll be honest with you, I'm not a politician, and I'm not trying to be. I'm just a student like everyone else, and I feel that I'm the right student to help drive our union forward. I'm not going to talk about what I've already achieved because I've only got a little time, so I'm going to just talk about what I'm planning on doing. Right now, Kent is currently second in a competition to give the uni £50,000 towards the summer ball. This shows how eager everyone is to bring great live music to the university, and I feel as though I can achieve this by working with Kent's biggest music promoters, many of whom I already know. This is not the only thing I'm bringing to the table. Another primary students to teach people how to create societies in the form of do-it-yourself society workshops. A lot of new and exciting societies never really take off because their founders aren't aware of how to write a constitution, run a committee, budget or market themselves. In running these open forum workshops, I'll provide anyone who is interested, whether they're from Medway or Canterbury, with the right tools to create their dream society. And who knows, this time next year, we could all be dancing under poles to the beat of calypso music at the UKC Limbo Society. While societies are fun, it's not all fun and games, because behind everyone is a hard-working society committee. I want to make their lives easier by giving them more control of their money and letting them set their own membership fees. Equally as important are those societies who feel underappreciated. I will look to give societies greater exposure through a termly magazine that will profile what they're all about, as well as more regular society showcases to show you off at your best. My manifesto points for VP activities.
Next up is Nikki Akeen. Nikki. Oh, there is no Nikki here, excuse me. So next up after that is Joe Ismail.
Hi, I'm Joe Ismail. I'm running for VP activities at the University of Kent Union's elections, and I've done CSRFM for the last 2 years in their committee. I've been a member of Student Media as a whole and in the Live Music Society. And what I want to do as VP activities is make lots of small things happen to make a larger impact overall, and make changes that will be sustainable for everybody, things that will benefit everybody as a whole. The first thing that I want to talk about is creating unity across the university. We have 2 main campuses, Canterbury and Medway, and this is something that used to be utilised and made much better. Did you know that freshers' fairs at Medway are so little that not many people know about them at all, and Canterbury societies don't even go there? We need to get that across, and we have a shuttle bus that is it's such a good thing, and it's so easy to transport towards Medway and Canterbury that we need to utilise that. We also have Kent Rag at University, and that is everybody assumes that this is a society that just raises money, and that is correct. But they're a society that puts on so many great events. They did Take Me Out. They've been at Varsity. They've been involved in Canestock, and we need to promote that more and show how people can utilise these. Another thing is the employability point scheme and the KSCV award. What students want is ways to improve their employability prospects, and that's what I need to give them. And this is all going to be shown through communication. This is a vital aspect and a way that needs to be easier to log hours. Also from societies, I think the price to reduce them from £5 to £3 at the committee decision is a great thing, because in certain societies, money just gets lost. And finally, a hugely important thing is space. We need more space across the university. Did you know that some societies generally just go looking for rooms when they want to hold a committee meeting or a meeting of some sort? And we need to change that. We need to create a new booking system which is much easier. The Folks Room in Elliott College, currently occupied by Student Media, is going to be free when they move to the Student Media Centre, and we can utilise that for all societies. So vote for Joe Ismail. I can make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And next up is Joe Laws. Jake Laws. Ah, sorry, Jake.
Hello. Firstly, to introduce myself, my name is actually Jake, not Joe. I'm a third-year social science student based on the Medway campus. Aside from my course, I'm Raise and Give Officer for the Medway Student Committee, a course rep, Vice President of the newly formed Doctor Who Society, a shout out to all you Whovians out there, and I've been an external charity rep for the past few years, and we're about to break the £9,000 mark in terms of the money we've raised. It's a firm belief of mine that university is not just about the degree you get, but all the experience you gain from being part of a society, contributing to student media, or raising money for charity. Being an active member of the uni community is something that I'm truly passionate about, and I honestly feel that I'm not just ready, but super keen to dedicate myself to the role of VP activities. I love being involved, and I love helping other people with their problems. Whether you're an undergrad, a postgrad, a mature student, or an international student, my door will always be open to listen to you. I want to be an activities officer for everybody in our union, and this will be the foundation of everything I do as VP activities. On to specific goals of mine. I'll do my utmost to increase societal funding, particularly for new societies who may not have big enough budgets to put on the events they want. I also aim to increase the social space across both campuses. I think there's plenty of space that we can utilise to make the most of what we've got. I want to get more integration of Medway and Canterbury students and societies. Key to this is making sure that there isn't a clash of freshers' fares and increasing the amount of shuttle buses between the campuses, particularly in the evenings when it's hard for people to get to the events they want to go to. And I also want to try and get an actual bus shelter in Medway. I also aim to create a societies handbook for Welcome Week, which will outline to new and current students the details of all the societies available, how they can join them, and how they can even set up their own society. Finally, I want to celebrate 50 years of Kent through a series of exciting events that will involve both past and present students. This is something I think we can all have a really good time with. Everything I've set out in my manifesto is more than achievable.
I'm sorry, Jake, we're going to have to cut you off there. You've reached time, but thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jake. Sorry, got your name wrong, but you have to get one wrong, or else you're not doing it right. So, last but certainly not least, it is Rachel Leach.
As I've already mentioned, my name's Rachel, and I'm running for VP Activities, in case you hadn't guessed by now. I'm a fourth-year student studying English and French, and I think that my time here has been truly enriched by the activities that I take part in. And I know without them, my university experience just wouldn't have been as good, to be honest. I've worked for Kent Union for over 3 years now, and I've become very familiar with their strategies and the way in which we work. I've been part of many. If elected, I want to get involved with all the activities to offer the best we can in enhancing the student experience. So these are the main points that I'll be looking at. I want to lobby the university to make more space open to activities. I feel this is especially festivals organised throughout the year on both campuses in order to showcase the broader spectrum of talents that Kent Union societies have to offer. I also think student media is doing a great job here. Wouldn't it be great if they could get involved in local projects such as these festivals? In terms of an online presence, I'd like to make a virtual freshers fair so that more students can join in societies. This would also allow Medway students to get involved with the freshers fair experience here we have in Canterbury. To make it easier for students to get involved with activities, I think it is vital that we have a better online presence so that it's easier for people to find out what we have to offer. Also, I'd love to start a scheme within Canterbury where we would approach local businesses to provide support, not just money, but to be able to share our experience and give advice. Not only would this be a really good opportunity for societies, but it would bring a brilliant if our volunteers could have more support from the private sector. Sorry. In terms of accessibility, I think it would be great if I could work with groups to offer more than just an accessible room to meet in and to provide funds for people who may not otherwise be able to join in. I hope this has given you an insight into my policies and why I should be your next VP Activities.
Thank you very much there, Rachel. And that brings us to the end of the initial speeches from VP Activities candidates, which means we now move on to questions. Don't forget, if you have an idea for these guys, it's not too late to get in touch. Get in touch with the hashtag CQT Activities on Facebook or Twitter, or if you're on YouTube, just let us know in the comments and we'll try and pick it up. So, we're going to move on to the first question, which is: there have been many negative points raised in society forum meetings and online social media regarding Club Kent. Would you continue your predecessor's campaign pledge if elected, or would you look for alternative solutions to foster inter-society relationships between similar societies? And that's from an anonymous asker. And we are going to start with Clarissa.
Club Kent, you know, it sounds like a great idea. It's worked for the sports teams with Team Kent and now Team Medway, and I don't see why it shouldn't be able to happen. So if I was elected, I think I would consider the possibility of still maintaining it, but it's got to be up to the society members and committees talking to me going, well, this is what's going to work, I think, or this isn't what's going to work. And You know, Club Kent, it would be great to have a banner and having an own kind of mini varsity among the societies. It's the visibility and the collaboration that I would like to see, and that is the main point in one of my manifestos.
Fantastic, thank you very much. Jake, you're next.
I think I would, obviously, you'd have to look at it if I was to be elected and consider all the options available. But as the idea as a whole, I think collaboration between societies is a really good one. Even tonight, my own society is collaborating with Clarissa's society in Medway and hosting a joint quiz night. I think it's a great way to get more people, like collaborative events, a great way to get people involved. You may even go to a society, for your own society's purpose and see something else you might and just sign up for that. So I think it's definitely something that we should pursue more. And I think it's something that could really enhance the experience of students on campus.
Thank you very much. We now move on to John.
Club Kent, I think, is a really, really interesting idea, and I can understand the reasoning behind it because Team Kent is such a success. But there is so much of a contrast between some societies than there are with sports. Because we've got things like academic societies, like the Literature Society, and then they're thrown in the same bracket as something like the Real Ale Society, and those are two extremely different things. And so I think we'd have to maybe evolve the idea, because I think that collaboration is a good idea, but I think that maybe having it all under the same banner with the same unified ideology perhaps isn't the way forward.
Okay, fantastic. We're now moving on to Rachel.
Yeah, just picking up what everyone else already said, I agree with the idea. It's really good to have an idea where they have Team Kent and Club Kent, but like John's already said, it's not really feasible to try to banner everyone under the same roof. It sort of plays in with the idea that I'd like to create festivals that would get to showcase similar things. So you'd have the academics and then other societies doing their thing. So I think it's a really good idea, but it just needs developed to be better.
Thank you very much. And we're now going to move over to Tom.
Ultimately, I feel that we can't reach a decision yet on Club Kent. There are two reasons why. Firstly, is the practical reasons. I'm not going to lie, I'm not sitting here as an expert. I don't know the exact ins and outs of Club Kent. The crucial thing is getting elected, speaking to the union officials and finding out what can we do. The second thing is finding out what students want. Ultimately, a few students have said they haven't liked the idea of Club Kent, but we may find the majority of students want Club Kent. So ultimately, those are the two factors. Speaking to the union to find out the practical side, and then speaking to students to find out exactly what they want. And until I've been able to do those things, I won't be able to reach a decision just yet.
Okay, thank you very much. We're now going to move over to Joe.
Yes, I would make sure that we keep Club Kent going. I think it's very vital, actually, as a part of representation rather than a competition. Team Kent is very much a competition used in varsity, but we have lots of societies that leave the university, for example, the Debate Society, that go abroad and have debating arguments, competitions with other universities and places. And for them to go and represent University of Kent on a global scale, for example, is a huge thing. So why wouldn't we want them to go there and be represented under Club Kent so we get a worldwide name? We want them to be representative of us, and I think it's just representative rather than a competition. It doesn't always need to be competitive.
Fantastic, thank you very much. Philip, you're next.
Phil, all right. Well, as president of a society, I know why a lot of societies and volunteer groups are not, in a sense, keen on it, because they feel that they'll lose some of their individuality to some aspect. However, I support Club Kent, because if it's implemented properly, that shouldn't be an issue. I can understand how some societies would be wary of it, but like I said, if it is implemented properly, there's been some teething issues like there would be with any sort of programme like this. But we also have to remember this was a key policy from our predecessor, Amy, who got about 3,000 votes. This is clearly, students want this. This is a popular policy. This is something that we should all pursue. They voted for this. So I think we should go ahead with it. However, there's some definite tweaking we're going to have to do, because there's no point having some societies not keen on it and a lot are. You need to bring everyone with you. So that's what we'll make sure we'll do.
Thank you very much, Phil. Right, finally we move on to Chris.
What we have to remember about Club Kent is that it's still an idea that's in development at the moment. As part of the Society's Executive Committee, it's something we've been having meetings on. And I had my own forum meeting with the Special Interest Societies a couple of weeks ago, and we had quite an active discussion about some of the pros and cons of Club Kent. So there's a consultation coming up in a few weeks for all societies to come and pitch in their ideas. So I think in terms of whether I would go forward with Club Kent, it's going to depend on what the students think and what the societies think. Because if it's something, like as Tom said, that the majority of students want, then why wouldn't we go for it? But if it's something that there are still teething issues and most societies aren't keen, then I think we'll have to explore other ways of collaborating societies.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Right, we move on to another question, and it goes as follows. Participation in activities for mature students continues to remain low for the majority of societies and RAG. How are you going to change this? Again, this is an anonymous asker. So this goes on to John.
I think because mature students are an integral part of our university, and there's no denying that. We like to think of ourselves as young people, but there are so many, there is a large proportion of the university who are mature students, and they often get discredited, and I think we need to do more to include them. And I can't say what that is because that is dependent from society to society, but I think we need to harbour a sense of engagement that's to show that mature students are actually a part of our university, and they're not just outsiders who are here to learn some stuff between having a job. And I think that that's a really, really important thing.
Thank you very much. We're now going to move over to Philip.
Okay, two things. I would say that one of the things you have to do is make sure, because to a large extent, a lot of mature students are Kent alumni. So you have to get them first at first year. So to do that, you need to make sure you engage them adequately through a proper advertisement of Freshers' Fair and Freshers' Fair, as well as a society's catalogue. So when they go into their rooms, first thing they see is a booklet of all the all large advertisements of what the societies are, what they stand for, what they do, what they enjoy. And the same would apply to mature students. A lot of mature students actually live on campus in accommodation. The same would apply to them. If people know what societies are available, when they meet, what they are, how they're described, who they appeal to, then they'll get involved. And it has to be done because you have to really engage people with this because it really makes the university experience what it is. It's very important.
Thank you very much. We're now going to move over to Tom.
Ultimately, we've got to give mature students something to want to take part in. The problem with a lot of society activities, they often take place very late in the evening, such as a debate, or they're a social. Now, if you're a mature student, given that you've got kids or you've got a job and so forth, a late night isn't particularly ideal. Neither is going out drinking all the time. What we need to do is we need to really increase the amount of extracurricular activities, both on the weekends and both during the Wednesday weekdays. And this is something I've really tried to push forward with the Environment campaign. For the last 2 years now, we've offered an activity every weekend. And for this term and the September term, we've offered an activity every Wednesday. And I'm happy to say we've had quite a lot of mature students come along because we're doing things that aren't in the evening, aren't involved drinking. We're doing things such as going hiking, building bird boxes, on those real get out into the dirt and actually feel like you've accomplished something sort of activity. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Now we move over to Joe.
I think this is definitely something that needs change and something to be looked at because membership levels from mature students are so low. And what I propose to do is, instead of just going and having our Freshers' Fair and trying to show what we are all capable of in our societies, we need a way to actually get mature students interested. And from that, I think we need to get first-hand responses from mature students that are actually interested in societies already, and perhaps put this in a booklet or put what they say on the website, perhaps even broadcast it through student media. And then when other mature students will listen, they may join societies from it. They'll see that other mature students are there, and it might actually make it easier for them to join as well. So it might have a roll-on effect from if you see a mature student in a society, you don't feel such an outsider if you're going to join that one.
Thank you very much, Joe. Jake, you're next.
As I said in my speech, I want to be a person that anybody could come to. So I would like to, if a mature student wants to join a society, that I can listen to their needs and feed that back to society execs, and try and sort out a way to allow for mature students to be part of a society. Obviously, it is a big problem. They are equal students just as much as we are. So, and I'm also glad that Phil has got this proposal as well about a handbook. It'd be great to see, for mature students to see what's on offer, so they may feel more inclined to join a society. And also, I think hours are a big problem as a whole. A lot of people, they can't afford, if they've got kids to feed at home, they can't afford to be staying out to 11 o'clock at night attending a social. We need to be encouraging societies to do a variety of events that don't just involve drinking or evening activities. So yeah, I think that it's a key issue that needs addressing, and yeah, those are how to solve it.
Thank you very much. Right, we move over to Chris.
Yeah, so I think one of the main things we need to do is when we have committee training at the start of the year is to push inclusion training into that training, so that committees get more of a sense of, you know, events that they can do that will include all students, and that's obviously not just mature students, but, you know, international students as well. And yeah, perhaps in some of the larger societies, encouraging committees to get, you know, maybe a mature students officer to liaise with the mature students in that society, so they don't always feel overshadowed or outcast, and they have a specific person in the society that they can go to. We actually just re-ratified the Mature Students and Postgraduate Society, which is a step in the right direction. Of course, we don't want to push them all into one student group. They need to have the option to go into every society as well. But I think it's a good step to know that there's definitely people on campus who want to get involved, so they've made the society and they're ready to go, which is
10 seconds. Thank you very much. We move on over to Rachel.
Thanks. Yeah, I think on the point that I had sort of touched on in my manifesto, that I would really love to get a virtual freshers fair going on, because I know it can be a little daunting sort of going on with all the screaming sort of first years who first time away from home. So for mature students, I think it would be a bit more of an accessible way to get to know the societies they want to get to. I also think it would maybe be an idea to try and get a mature students meeting set together where all the societies can come in and see what ways they can actually make themselves more accessible, because obviously the students themselves are going to know better than we will.
Thank you very much. And then last but not least, Larissa.
With mature students, I think whoever is elected VP activities, they need to work closely with the mature officer and work with them to understand what are the needs. You know, we've touched on some people have children. The one way we can do that, obviously more daytime activities, but the union is meant to also go into the community. Their families are part of the Kent Union community. We could easily do activities that encourage families to come and mingle, because then that gets groups talking. And there's a very successful scheme in Medway called the Give It a Go scheme, which is, you know, for a small price, you try something new. And this could be just a way for mature students to maybe start integrating themselves into these societies and not feel, you know, with the intimidation maybe of having
10 seconds.
100. Yeah, so give it a go, and more family activities for our mature students.
Thank you very much. Right. I want to remind everyone that I'm not doing this on my own, of course. I do have the loving assistance of the social media team in Social Media HQ. I hear that Daisy has an individual question for one of the candidates. So Daisy, what have you got?
I have a question for Jonathan Easton, and that is, where do you expect to secure the funding for more notable live music on campus? And where exactly would that be held?
Well, thank you to whoever sent in that question. As far as funding goes, I'm not really sure where the funding came from for the live music acts that were here before, when this space was the attic, but we would take from that kitty. And Kent Union is not a profit organisation. It won, it came 17th in the Times Top 100 non-profit organisations, companies to work for. And so if you could make the money back on ticket sales, and you could use space in Elliott Hall, for instance, which, using the money from the bar, that could easily cover the costs if it was publicised enough. So that's what I would say, that you could utilise spaces such as Elliott Hall and Mungo's, and use bar sales and ticket sales to cover the costs.
Thank you very much, John. I hear that Daisy has another one for us. Daisy?
Joe Ismail says, you mention weekly newsletters in your manifestos, but students often get too many emails. What other ways do you propose to get in touch with students?
Thank you for that, Daisy. So Joe, what other ways will you get in contact with students other than emails?
I've already stated in my manifesto that I'm going to set up weekly individual meetings, so it's like drop-in sessions, one at Canterbury and also one in Medway. So if anybody's got any burning issues and hasn't read through the email that I'm going to send through explaining what's going on, I'm going to be there for them to come and talk to. I think it's also very important that I'll be around and active at the freshers' fairs that happen at the start of terms, and they're the points where people are looking to join activities and societies most. Of course, it happens throughout this term, but it does happen most there, and so I'll be there to answer any questions, see how we're advertising the societies, and if that all fails, and not fails, but if they aren't interested in then but interested at another point, I'll be around weekly.
Fantastic, thank you very much. And I hear that the tweets just keep coming in. Daisy, do you have another one for us?
Oh, they keep coming in indeed. This one is to Clarissa, and it's anonymous again, and it asks, how would you make sure students understand training and their role descriptions?
From speaking to people, and obviously being an exec member myself over the last few years, that standing in a position of power and trying to organise things that hopefully will entertain and be beneficial to people on the campus. You know, whether it's an overhaul of the role descriptions, so it's like point by point, this is what you should have, or, you know, this is what you need to fulfill your role in your best capacity. And also in training sessions, you know, fantastic freshers training that I've been to in the last couple of years, very active and engaging. I think that's the kind of training we need. And someone made a point to me earlier today about course reps. You know, some subjects do not, they don't have set, you know, they go on placement, so training isn't flexible for them. So more flexible training for societies and committees.
Thank you very much. Right, so we're going to throw sorry about that. Right, Daisy, Daisy, how are you doing over there? Got another one for us?
I'm good, yeah. Question for Tom this time. And it says, you come from a particular society or group, but how do you propose to transfer these skills in particular at university?
So there you go, Tom. How do you propose to kind of transfer the skills you have already to the role of VP activities?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the group I set up, I essentially set up from scratch. So a lot of the thing I had to do, such as setting up the committee, writing the constitution, essentially writing the theme tune, singing the theme tune, doing the entire show really, I had to do by myself. So I almost had like a crash course in how to run a society. And what you find is a lot of the skills in running a society are often, they go across all boards. For example, publicising across Facebook, you could be the Not Going Out Society, you could be Classic Liberal Society, you could be the Environment Campaign. You're pretty much doing the same thing. With regards to holding activity, the activities do differ, but ultimately is keeping an eye on everyone and making sure the activity is going smoothly. With regards to events organisation, it's contacting people, it's making sure they know what's going on and getting them involved. So ultimately, although the society I'm involved is quite a niche one, the skills collaborate across all the societies and so forth. So in that sense, I can use the skills I've got from the Environment Campaign and use them for all societies, really.
Thank you very much. Right, we've got another one from Daisy. Daisy?
Okay, Stevenson, and this is from Oliver. Do you not think that Club Kent will blur the identity of all the societies even further and be taken over by larger societies?
No, like I said, if it's done right, that really should not be an issue. I've been talking to the Societies Federation Committee at the moment about it, and it's just really a matter of implementation. I know, because my societies are about medium size, I know we don't want to lose our individual identity. I get that. In fact, I probably understand it, more than others. But having your societies under this broad umbrella will allow us all to engage more and ultimately contribute more. I mean, it'd be fantastic to get the Kent Debating Society under the roof of Club Kent. It's just a matter of implementation. It has to be done correctly. If it can't be done correctly, then drop it. But I think it really can be done correctly, and I'm not going to implement it. Okay, thank you. I'm not going to implement it unless it can be done properly. Otherwise, not bothering.
Thank you very much, Phil. Right, Daisy.
I do. This one for Chris, and it's, where would you imagine creating a performance space or a society common room?
Okay, so in terms of the Society Common Room, what we've heard and seen in other people's manifesto is the folks room now that student media's up here. And what would be great about that kind of space is that we could use key fobs, like people's student cards, so people could get into the room whenever they wanted to get in there. Perhaps more for the storage of smaller items, so it could mostly be used for committee meetings and publicity, the big notice board up so you can put what you're doing and advertise yourself to other societies. Performance space, I think, is more about lobbying the university for the use of the the dance studios over at the gym at the sports centre, and also the Collier Ferguson room, which is obviously used by the Gulbenkian, but there are lots of times when it's empty and no one's performing in there, and that would be a great space for our dance, pole fitness, those kind of groups.
Thank you very much. Chris, right, Daisy, come on, give us another.
One for Jake, and that is, how often do you come to Canterbury campus, and do you feel you really understand Canterbury's needs?
Oh, that's a mean question. Okay, I come down to Canterbury once every Friday. I have a lecture here on a Friday. I don't get much time to have a look around, but I have been involved in Freshers' Fair this year for the first time. I was running a stall there, and I think it's incredible. I was amazed at the amount of differing societies we have. It's great that we've got such a wide range of societies people can join, and I'd love to build on that. In terms of Canterbury being understanding Canterbury, I understand Medway. Obviously, Medway is a completely different campus, but I do believe that I've got lots of transferable skills that skills I can transfer from being active in the Medway campus to the Canterbury campus and make Kent as a whole better through my role.
Thank you very much, Jake. Very great, kind of cut seat, doesn't it? I know. Moving on, Daisy, give us another.
One for Rachel. Where would you find the space for increased storage as proposed in your manifesto?
This is a difficult one, and one that people bring up every year. I find that it's probably going to be a difficult long slog, and it may not come to fruition in my time, but I think it needs to be started. What I'd like to find out at the minute is obviously, well, I don't know if this is obvious, but the nursery has moved from its current location down near Keynes over to near Pavilion, and I'd really love to know what's being done with that space, because it's quite a large building, and I feel that it could be utilised at least for storage, if not made sort of more into a purpose building for societies to meet.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Right. So we're going to go to a general question. So, right, let's go to this. So, on my card it says, do you believe that only members of societies, SLVGs and student media can vote to elect a VP activities candidate? This is to all the candidates, and we're going to start with Phil.
No. I think voting should be open for everyone. I think it's ridiculous to try and restrict it. That's not what democracy is. I don't want to be elected just by technically 1/5 of the population. I want everyone to get involved. That's not how democracy should be done. And I think actually by doing this, hopefully, it might get those who aren't involved in societies, SLGs, and other forms of volunteering to actually get involved in societies and the wider, union thing in general.
Thank you very much, Phil. We're going to move over to Jake.
I'd like to completely echo Phil. I think it'd be ridiculous to narrow it down to just one group of people. We're here if the union is there to represent absolutely everybody, so absolutely everybody has a right to vote, and perhaps even they'd vote for you because you would enable them to get involved in the society. So I think that's an absolute no from me.
There you go, thank you very much. Tom?
I think it's all going to be a whole load of no's from the time tonight. But yeah, I completely agree. I think one of the main things also is just people remember that we also have the student services sector within activities as well. So that's the venue, essentials, our bus service, the library cafe, that all falls under the activities remit. So by saying only societies can get involved and only societies can vote, then your basic societies will have control over the venue, over essentials. So if a student thinks, God, the prices are really expensive or they're too cheap, they won't be able to do anything about it when elections come around. So yeah, I completely agree that we should say no on this one.
Thank you very much. John, where do you stand?
Activities often get shoehorned, the VP activities role often gets shoehorned into just being about societies, and these groups have been mentioned, but it is representative of activities. It's not the VP for societies. It's a role, as I've mentioned in my manifesto, it's for everybody. A big part of my manifesto is about music. And that live music, that isn't just for people who are in societies. I want to make the union more transparent. I want anybody who's at this university to see how much money the union is spending on societies and student media, and that is not to do with societies. I want to make it easier for people to get into societies, for people to make their own societies, because there is a small proportion of the people who are at this university who are actually in societies. There are so many people,
10 seconds.
like my housemates who just turn up to lectures and go home. But in short answer, no, it's all of us.
Thank you very much. Right, we're going to move over to Chris.
Yeah, I'm just going to echo everyone else. Voting needs to be open to everyone. Student groups on campus need to be open to everyone.
Thank you very much, Chris. Short and sweet. Yeah. Right, so to Clarissa next.
Like everyone else, no. It'd be like saying that Labour, Tories and Liberals would be the only ones who could vote in the election. That would be completely undemocratic. And it's no, just no.
Okay,
there's nothing else that can really be added.
Yeah. Rachel.
Yeah, echoing everyone else, I think that none of us are going to say yes to that question. I would love to see more people getting involved in societies, and I think this is the first step towards it. If you get the sort of everyone's manifestos out and we can all see the way forward towards this, I think it'd be great if everyone would get a more active role with activities and sort of, yeah, get more involved.
Fantastic. And finally, Joe.
I think everyone's really summed it up really. The answer will be no. There will not be any benefits coming from this. It will prevent anybody who's looking to join a society to join societies because they wouldn't have had a say beforehand, and they'll feel like if they didn't like something in particular, they've got to go for a year until they actually get a chance to vote. So, no.
Thank you very much. Well, it's good to know that everyone in a democratic race is pro-democracy, or else I think that might have caused quite a stir. So, moving on. Right, the question on my card reads, considering a third of the student population are international students, how will you specifically cater to their needs? And we're going to start with Clarissa.
Well, obviously there is the International Society, but, you know, you shouldn't be pigeonholed into a society because of what you like and what you do. But for international students, obviously we have an international officer, and you know their roles are just as important in contributing to our making things better for all students on campus. I know in Medway in Greenwich there is a weekly meeting for people can gather and just, you know, because everyone gets homesick. It doesn't even matter if you're international, but just coming together, events that celebrate the culture, World Fest, Diversity Fair. We just need to promote that our campus, you know, we have the projects, the scholarships abroad. We just need to promote that we are a cultural society and we should embrace it all.
Thank you very much. Moving over to Chris.
Okay, so last year I was actually an international student, and the thing I remember most was feeling welcomed by all of the people who were already at the university, finding out so much information about the clubs because it was all very accessible. And I think we do a good job of that here with events like World's Fest that are coming up in a couple of weeks. So as going back to the mature student question, I think we just need to make committees aware that when they're running a society, they are probably going to have a member who is an international student. So they just need to be aware of how they can be inclusive, how they can make that student's life easier, and yeah, working closely with the international part-time officer just to make sure we can be as inclusive as we can be.
Thank you very much. Jake, you're next.
Cool. To begin with, we're obviously known as the UK's #1 European university, so I think it's incredibly important that we take the interests of international students very seriously. I think it'd be great to maybe have like an international rep on for each society if that society feels that it needs it. As I said in my speech again, my door will always be open. I'll act as a mediator to try and get their interests heard and make sure that they feel that they can join the society or be part of any of the things we offer here in Kent. But I think also it kind of goes back to the Club Kent thing. I think the collaboration, like World Fest, like the Diversity Fair in Medway, if we can use things like that, we can get everybody together and people can be actively involved in the events we have to offer. There you go.
Thank you very much. Right, we're now moving over to Phil.
Cool. Well, in terms of actually my campaign, I'm going to be unleashing very soon my manifesto in the 5 main languages on campus, because we actually have to understand languages. There is a language barrier in some degree, so I want to address that. When it comes to, for example, the booklet, which shall happen, that should have, make sure that has the translation of 5 main languages. I would say that being president of CLS, the Classical Liberal Society, we have about a third of our members are international students, and it's all because you have to promote a welcoming atmosphere. in general, to be honest, but particularly for international students, because of course they've come somewhere new. It's going to be, you know, we'll all get homesick, and it's very difficult. So it's very important, one, that you address the needs that they require, and make sure that there is actually that warm, open atmosphere, both for VP activities and for and societies.
Thank you very much, Phil. We move over to Joe.
Yeah, I think that with international students, it's all about being very welcoming and presenting ourselves in a way that people feel happy and like we're accessible to them. And I think this is the first point of call at that is at the Freshers' Fair that happens in the first week of university. And when you go along, you see all the societies displaying themselves. You don't get the groups that just stand there and they sort of stand back and they have their stall and they have their leaflets out, but they don't really talk to anyone. We need to make sure that we're standing there, we're talking to people, everybody that comes across, and making sure that we're not picking out specific people, we're talking to absolutely everybody, because we are the European University. We have such a diverse group of people at this university. So I think it is first impressions which really count in this instance.
Thank you very much, Joe. We're going to move over to Tom.
Oh, thanks. I think the main thing we need to do to get more international students involved is to really expand on our volunteering. A lot of people, international students, have paid much larger sums than us as British students to be studying at Kent. Because of that, they're much more concerned about getting extracurricular skills to bump up their CV. Because of this, so that it's essentially a case of boosting the volunteering, so doing things more like litter picking, doing bird box building sessions, all these kind of things. Because what I've often found in the activities I run is that when I do things such as the volunteering, we get a huge turnout of international students. And that's because of one thing, and that's because they want to get those volunteer hours, get those skills and bump up their CV. So the best way we can get more international students involved is to completely expand our volunteering and offer regular volunteering sessions on Wednesdays and on the weekends.
Thank you very much, Tom. Right, we're going to move over to Rachel.
Yeah, I think it'd be brilliant. I actually also spent a year abroad last year, and I found it, with the language barrier, it started being an issue for me, and I really missed the societies that I'd been involved in. It's sort of, it makes you feel a lot less homesick, I have to say, if you've got, you know, a little tight-knit group of people around you who, you know, can be there for you, and it was something I definitely missed last year. So I think it'd be really good if we could, you know, make sure that we get more people involved and make sure that international students feel really welcome. Because, yeah, it's definitely the way forward for international students.
Thank you very much, Rachel. And last but not least, John.
A big point of my manifesto is transparency. And that's not just transparency in terms of funding and money, but it's transparency in terms of an ideal of making things clear and not having societies which are cliques, and making things more open and accessible. And as everyone's mentioned here, about making it welcome for anyone to get involved with. And that's a mindset that I would bring to the role and encourage other societies to use, because I can't tell people what to do, unfortunately. But I can encourage this mindset, and hopefully it will grow. And because we are a European university, to make people understand that we're not just British people in this university.
Thank you very much, John. Right, we're going to go back to some individual questions from Social Media HQ. So, Daisy, what do you have for us over there?
I have got a question coming in from Twitter, and this is from Darcy Anderson 92. And she asked Jake Laws, how important is linking with other institutions for student activities?
Linking with other institutions. I'm a charity rep for an external organisation, and I found it very tough over the past 2 years when I've been a rep to help to get the charity into the uni. So I'd like to try and break down some of the barriers for that. Also, I think there's such a wide range of opportunities that aren't actually available in Kent. And I think that I'd want to get external institutions to come in and give talks, increase the employability. It'll allow people to have more volunteering hours and just help their, like, as I said, university is not just about the degree, in my opinion, it's about everything else you gain. So it'd help them gain that everything else. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Jake. Right, Daisy, give us another.
This one from YouTube for Tom, and it says, you are currently environmental officer, yet in your manifesto you state you will make magazines. How exactly is this environmental?
I get this all the time. It is simply a case of paper is bad, you shouldn't be printing paper. Now, ultimately, paper is a crucial thing with regards to getting leaflets out and getting out of things. With regards to my society, if we didn't have paper leaflets, we wouldn't be anywhere as big as we are now. Now, the key thing about paper is that you can recycle it. You can recycle it up to 4 times. So with regards to the booklet, some of the things we can do is make sure, A, it's on recycled paper, and B, that we make sure the booklets are actually recycled. Oh, and lastly, C, is make sure we don't print too many. Those are the things we can do. Paper isn't a bad thing. I mean, look at us all now. We're all writing on paper, for crying out loud. It is not a bad thing. It can be recycled. It can be reduced. After wasted is reduce, reuse, and recycle. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Tom. That question could sting like a paper cut, but you dealt with it very well. Daisy, come on, give us another.
We've got another one, this time for Clarissa from Anonymous. And they ask, with the new media centre close to opening, what's next for student media in your opinion?
What's next for student media? A point that I did raise in my manifesto is that, you know, this whole idea of collaboration. We've got KTV, we have CSR, we have Inquire, and obviously we have the Medwire, who is Medwire I've been working with since my first year. The collaboration of bringing, KTV, CSR, Inquire over to Medway, and vice versa, Medwire over to here. But an idea I've had is the Ask VP, which applies to all VPs. It's kind of like the Ask Clegg show on LBC. You can post, you can tweet, you can Facebook, you can YouTube, and you can put us under the spot. You can hold us to account. And it's all about this visibility. Even with volunteering, we can use the student media to promote the amazing work that anyone who does outside of lecture time in the society, they can promote it. And that's what we can do.
Thank you very much, Clarissa. An issue very close to our hearts here, I think. So, Daisy, come on, give us one more.
I've got one more, this time for Rachel, and that is, how would you encourage local businesses to sponsor societies?
It's a good question. It's a really good question. I think it's a really important thing because I think that you can learn so much more from the private sector than working from just a charity organisation, because they work like a big business. They can cut costs and everything. But I think big businesses like to give back. They like to be able to show that they are giving back to the community and helping in any way they can. So I think that would be one way of doing it. Another way, I know that musical theatre at least have had hoodies this year that have been sponsored by Reed's Rains, one of our local estate agents. So that's another way in the funding sort of way. But I think I'd like to move more towards advice, because I think it's probably the biggest benefit we can get from the private sector.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Daisy, what else have you got for us?
Got one for John this time, again from the Anonymous form, and that is, what did you achieve as station manager of CSR FM, and what led you to resigning from this position?
I didn't. We were told we weren't going to get personal questions, but that's fine. What I achieved personally was to help to change the station. We had an identity before. We changed our identity to be a unique one, as opposed to being something that was quite anonymous that it was before. But the reason that I decided to step down from my role was because we have always said that across all societies that your degree comes first, and that's what you're at university to do. And over the past few weeks, I've found that my degree was becoming more important, and coming into the final months of my degree, I made the mature decision to, rather than do a bad job at both, to step down from my role at CSR and carry on with my degree.
Thank you for that, John. A controversial question, but very well dealt with. Daisy, can we have another, please?
And have another indeed, this time from Twitter, and it's for Phil. They ask, you ran for president last year, but this year you're going for activities. Which role do you really want, and why?
Okay, can I just say that was way too personal question for you, and he seems to be going again. I did run for president last year. This year I created a new society from scratch, so I've become, and I was elected as LGBT officer, so I've become very aware of what new societies need, as well as what volunteers need, as well as actually understanding the union institutions. I'm not going to lie, last year I knew less about the union institutions than I did now. I will be brutally honest with you. This year I think I'm quite clued up on most of it. I think in reality this is actually, I couldn't be asking for a better job, and sincerely hope I am elected. I hope everyone will help me get elected. I think I'll do a very good job. And yes, that's it really.
Thank you very much, Phil. Wow, they really aren't holding any punches over there in the social media universe. So now moving on to Daisy. She knows more about it than I do.
I do indeed, this is true. This time from Twitter, from Keely_Rob, and she asked Joe, why would you reduce the cost of society memberships when last year's Society Federation voted to raise it to £5?
I think it's important that what I'm actually trying to state is I want to make it available to reduce the price, so it's at the society's decision. So if they don't want to reduce it, they don't have to. I'm not forcing them at all. But I feel that there are certain societies where they don't actually... for example, it's an interest society, so they get together and they talk and they chat and they have a laugh, and they don't actually need that funding for anything in particular, whereas there are other societies which get you drink deals, they take you to see music gigs, and they use this money to get you discounts on things. So for the benefits of the societies that you don't get that extra benefits from, they should be able to reduce their society price, because otherwise it might just end up being, oh, we're just a group of mates, let's just not be in a society, let's just go and talk about it over at my house, rather than actually being a university society. But I want to stress the point that it's up to the society to reduce the price, and I'm not forcing it.
Thank you very much, Joe. I've just been told by the voice in my ear the word is actually Twitterverse. So going over to the Twitterverse, Daisy.
Yes, I like that. This time from Matthew Gilly. And he asked Chris Mattinson, you propose to dedicate a section of Inquire to promoting societies. How is this your decision to make, rather than the Inquire teams?
That's a very good question. So this is something that I'm very passionate about working with social media. Social media on campus needs to retain their independence. I don't want to walk in and say, okay, I'm VP Activities now, you need to do this, you need to put my face here all over the walls, CSR, I need to hear my voice, that kind of thing, which would be fine, by the way. So it would really be, I'd want to appoint a social media representative on the Society's Exec Committee, so this is something that we decide together, so that social media and all the student groups on campus are working, you know, I just realised I've said social media, I mean student media, so that they're all working together to achieve the same goal. It shouldn't be one of us saying, you know, you need to do this, and the other person saying, I don't want to do that. I think we'd come together and realise that it'd be mutually beneficial.
Thank you very much. Right, guys, you'll be glad to hear that this is the final question, and I can also assure you that it is also a lot less scathing than the last few. Right, just to say, what made you run for the role of VP Activities in the first place? And we're going to start with John.
The reason I decided to run for the position of VP Activities is because over the past year, in my role with CSR, I've become so sort of aware of what's happening with the union. I'm up in the Student Activity Centre pretty much every day, and I can see what's happening, what's going well, what isn't going well, and I think that just from my perspective there, but also just of my view of the university as a whole, that I have the right view of what's happening in the university to best represent you as VP Activities.
Thank you very much, John. Next up is Chris.
It's because activities really do make your time at university. They're fun, it's the best thing that anyone gets involved in, I think, and I want to run because I want everyone else to have the great time that I've had being part of a society, being a committee member of a society, and it just provides you with so many opportunities, so many skills that you don't even realise you have until you start logging them on the toolkit. It's just so much fun, and that's why everyone's here, because they've come from a student group and they've had a great time over their degree, and it's what makes your experience, and that's why I want to do it.
Thank you very much, Chris. Jake, you're next.
I decided to run because I've always wanted to be really active, and it's a struggle when you've got to balance your degree as well. So I'd love to have the opportunity to dedicate my time and share my passion with absolutely everybody. I want to encourage everybody to get involved as much as they can. I want to encourage people to raise some money for charity and be part of student media. It's something that I'm really, really passionate about, and I want to share that with everybody, basically.
Thank you very much. Tom?
The reason I ran is because I want to make a difference. You often see of a lot of people is when things are going on around the world, you often think, what can I do as an individual to change things? And what I've been doing as the environment officer is to really show to people that one person can make a massive difference, whether it's setting up a society, whether it's going along to a volunteer event and just picking up some rubbish, or whether it's a case of doing really well in your degree and going on to do something great. So the reason I'm standing for the activities is to try and inspire everyone across campus, really, that as a person you can make a massive difference. So set up that society, join that group and get involved in that activity.
Thank you very much, Tom. Clarissa.
Well, when I first started university, I came from quite a small village. You knew basically everyone, and I've always enjoyed meeting new people. And in this position, the people you can meet and the difference you can make, whether it's with funding or with space or with activities and events, that's exciting. 50th anniversary, we're going to be celebrating one of the biggest things on this campus. And it's just so important to me to feel that other volunteers who will walk, in the shoes of us after we've gone, that they have that same satisfaction that we have right now. And that's really why I want to be VP Activities.
Thank you very much, Clarissa. Joe?
I want to show all the students at the university what you can do and how much of a great experience it is. I've been in CSR for 2 years, as well as being a department manager and speaking to loads and loads of new members and old. I've been a part of the Live Music Society, I've played at Canestock, I've even won an award at our new Kick Awards that's out. And I can show that you can do so much stuff whilst in a matter of 2 or 3 years that you're here. Get great stuff for your CV and enjoy yourself at the same time, and it's all about showing that and getting people involved.
Thank you very much, Joe. Rachel?
I actually decided to run for this post almost a year and a half ago. It's quite a long time. It was when I started in France, when I was on my year abroad. I was truly shocked by how appalling it was, and I realised actually how much the societies that I was in give back to my life. This sort of was reaffirmed when I came back. I actually am a duty supervisor in Essentials, and as such I have been to a lot of sort of upper management meetings where I have got to know the ins and outs of the dirtiest sort of holes of our union, and I feel that I've got the tools from that to push on and give us a better Kent Union for activities. So.
Thank you very much, Rachel. And finally, we have Phil.
I'm running because fundamentally, societies, volunteering campaigns really do make your university experience. I've got a lot of friends in third year who have never been involved in society before, and they say to me now how they wish they had been, how they see a lot of their friends getting involved in so many different aspects of university life, and they regret that. And I don't want that to happen to first years when they come here. I want them to feel like they can be engaged. Fundamentally, I probably would not have run unless I had been, created a brand new society from scratch. So I've had a real crash course in knowing what societies need and want. And if I had not been elected LGBT officer, because I know the in and outs of Kent Union, I know what can be done, what can't be done, I know how things can be achieved. And I think I'll do a very good job at being VP Activities personally.
Thank you very much, Phil. Well, that actually ends the proceedings for VP Activities. Give a round of applause to the candidates. Well done, guys. And also a round of applause to our lovely audience. But don't forget, viewers at home, that this is only half the fun. We've got a whole nother round of this coming with VP Sports. Don't forget, you can get in touch with contacts with the hashtag CQT Sport. And we'll be going for a quick break, which will come back at about 8:20, so don't go anywhere. The fun has only just started, really. I hope to see you there, and thank you very much for watching. Well done, guys. And we're clear. Well done, everyone.
Hey, 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 ha! Bands will make her dance, bands will make her dance. All these that you pop, but they not popping bad. Hey, you are my sun, you are my earth, but you didn't know all the ways I love you. No. You took a check, you made other plans, but I bet you didn't think that they would come crashing down. No, you don't have to say what you did, I already know. I found out from him, girl, there's just no chance for you and me, there'll never be. Don't it make you sad and loud? And tell me you love me, why'd you leave me? call me on the phone. Girl refused, must have me confused, some other guy. The bridges will burn, now it's your turn to cry. So cry me a river, cry me a river, hey, cry me a river, cry me a river. You ready? Say oh. The damage is done, so I guess I believe it. They say, oh, oh. The damage is done, so I guess I believe it. Oh, oh. The damage is done, so I guess I believe it. Yeah, yeah. Oh. The damage is done, so I guess I break it down. What she order? Fish fillet. We're so cold, man, this whole thing. Act like you never been around like this again. Don't it make you sad about it? Baby, go on and just say, baby, go on and just, baby, go on and just, yeah, yeah. So cry me a river, cry me a river, cry me a river, cry me a, yeah. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling flying high, you know how I feel, don't you know, baby? Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. The breeze drifting by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. Dragonflies out in the sun, you know how I feel, don't you know, baby? Butterflies are having fun, you know how I feel. Say sleep in peace when the day is done, you know how I feel. And this old world is a bold world, and you know for me, and I'm feeling good. Said I'm feeling good, about it all. You know how I feel. Success of the mind. You know how I feel. I said freedom is mine. You know how I feel. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life. Oh, yeah. I'm feeling good. And I'm feeling having a good time and nothing on my mind. And tell me what's my next move. And let's have another shot. This is a night to $10, cause I got nothing to lose, yeah. So I take her back home with me. She's a troll, but I can see, cause right now she looks beautiful. I wake up after the night, she's lying there by my side. And oh God, I was such a fool. I think I drunk too much. I should have made number 2 my last word. I think I drunk too much. Yeah, I should have made number 2 my last one. Yeah, yeah. No, no, no. Now I'm in a catch-22, not knowing what to do. I guess I might even stop and maybe even act like nothing ever happened. But it's hard to ignore when I keep remembering what happened before. So why do I do this to myself? I think I drunk too much, yeah. I should have made number 2 my last word.
And welcome back to the candidate question time. After the valiant efforts from the VP activities candidates, we are now going over to VP sports. The running order of tonight will be exactly the same as before, but just a bit more sporting. It will be 2 minutes of speeches from each candidate, followed by candidate questions, which will be individual and to the group. But as before, like I said, I am not alone in this endeavour. I am being helped over in the Twitter sphere by Social Media HQ and their loving leader, Daisy Steinberg. Daisy, you okay over there?
I am. I'm good. If you do want to get in touch and ask any questions, you can do so firstly on Twitter, going to @KentTV. Just use the hashtag CQT followed by sport. You can get in touch on the YouTube, just leave a comment underneath, or go to our website, that's ktvlive.co.uk, and leave a little comment on our anonymous form, or again use that hashtag on Facebook, CQT followed by sport. It's very busy in here and we're very excited. Back to you, Barney.
Yes, we've been having some great responses tonight, some questions that really cut to the core of the issues at heart. So basically, I need to remind you guys that these guys are running for union leadership positions. If you're a part of a sports team or just love sports in general, these guys are putting issues forward which will affect your time at university sports teams, clubs, and otherwise. So if they say something that really matters to you, let us know. And also, if you have a question for them, let us know, because then we'll let them know. But with that all out of the way, we have nothing else to do but to move on to the speeches, and we shall start with... Ooh, sorry, so we've had a bit of a change. It's been Ross. So he's speaking. So it's Rob Watson speaking in proxy for Ross.
Let's just move this up a bit shorter than I. Good evening, everybody. Ross can't be here tonight. He's in Rome running a half marathon on behalf of the University of Kent. So I'm just standing in to hopefully get some of his policies across to you all and just give a general idea of where he'd like to take things next year if he got the position. Although I can't answer any questions on his behalf, the main points he's looking to champion next year would be better transport, cheaper kit, and sport for all. Firstly, transport. If elected, Ross would lobby the union for more university buses or minibuses and overhaul the allocation system in order to combat the inadequacy and inefficiency of the current procedure, as 3 minibuses between 54 clubs is a simply unworkable solution at the moment. Ross would work with local transport firms to negotiate fair and cost-efficient deals for when all the minibuses are unavailable. This will ensure that clubs of all sizes can attend competitions without encountering unnecessary costs. A lot of clubs encounter issues with coaches and other issues. Thirdly, sports. A lot of the other major points Ross will obviously look to cover in the next few weeks leading up to the elections. But thank you very much for listening, and please back Braden.
Thank you very much there, Rob, speaking in turn for Ross Braden. So, right, George, you're next.
Hi, I'm George Agate. I'm currently the chairman of the cricket club, but I've also been part of many clubs at the university. Kent Snow, been part of rugby, and also I'm on Team Kent exec at the moment. If I was to be voted in, I'm looking to really push 4 main points, and that's publicity, participation, the celebration of the 50th year of the university, and financial support. So looking at publicity, we really need to revitalise Team Kent. I would like to launch a Sport at Kent website that would look to publish results, league tables, and give clubs their own website, so to show sponsorship and match reports and photos. But this wouldn't not only be for Team Kent, this would be for Team Medway, also for Intercollege, because they need the representation that they deserve. I'm looking at launching a fresher sports prospectus. This would have information on all the clubs, all the major sporting events through the year, and this would give details so we can be more proactive in getting people into sport. For the 50th year, I'd like Kent Sport to pledge for a swimming pool and make sure that they have plans for it to be finished within the next 2 to 3 years. I'd like to introduce the alumni weekend, bringing alumni, graduates to the university for a weekend to play for an alumni cup. This would really link ties with the community, with our ex-graduates, and could also open up opportunities for new sponsorship for new clubs. Finance is always a problem for all clubs, and the major issue is transport. I would like to look at looking for sponsorship for a new sponsorship from a travel company that would be able to subsidise transport costs for all clubs at the university and for Team Medway. But I'll also look to give financial support, so with templates for sponsorship contracts and help with negotiation, possibly run
George,
stand-up
I'm afraid I'm going to have to cut you up there. We've reached time. Thank you very much, George. George again. Right, we're now moving on to Nina Murmy. Nina.
Oh, sorry. Just want to sort this out first. Thank you. Hi, my name's Nina Memi, and I'm running to be your VP Sports 2014-2015. I'm a third-year undergraduate student studying philosophy at the University of Kent, Canterbury campus, and currently I'm the Women's Rugby Chairwoman, and also held the role of Social Secretary in my second year. Having had 2 years' experience of committee for one of the biggest clubs on campus has allowed me to gain a full understanding of how sport is run on both an operational level and a practical level by the Union and Kent Sport. As women's rugby is a developing sport, I'm also very aware of the support and promotion that is needed to ensure smaller clubs become well established. My manifesto is built on 3 main points, that is community, getting involved, and accessible to all. In order to build a sense of community within sport at the University of Kent, I will ensure that all clubs have inclusion plans. I will display weekly fixtures for all clubs. This includes college sport and Medway too. I will strive to gain sponsorship and funding from national governing bodies for every single sports club. and also look into equipment supplies also. I will develop 3-year committee plans for all clubs. Furthermore, in order to encourage more involvement in sport, I will expand varsity and look to include college sport too. I will establish an awareness in Sport Week and propose functional discounts for gym and pavilion memberships. Furthermore, I will increase the aid given to new clubs to ensure they have the correct support in establishment. Furthermore, making sport accessible to all is very, very important. I will do this through solidifying Medway links, reworking the sports section of the Kent Union website, establishing contingency plans for weather training to maximise training time and improve transport for clubs. Furthermore, I aim to collaborate with external sports establishments in order to use their pitch spaces and their expertise, and also build an online banking system. I will encourage better communication between Team Kent and the Union. My ultimate aim as your sports VP is to ensure that everyone has the same experience and enjoyment that I've had from sport at university. No matter what your involvement is, I want sport to be accessible to all, for you to feel a sense of community and just simply get involved. Thank you.
Very well timed. Thank you very much, Nina. We now move on to... So we're going to move on to Jack Bedford. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name's Jack Bedford. I have 3 years committee in the Men's Hockey Club, and I'm a current member of the Team Kent Executive. My manifesto is based on several main points, including transportation, financial support for clubs, participation, and publicity. In terms of participation, I want to launch a campaign to remove all postgrad classes from Wednesday afternoons. Postgrads don't have as much an opportunity to participate in sport due to their academic commitments. So by allowing them Wednesday afternoons free from these commitments, they'll be able to participate in sport. In terms of alternate participation, I will be campaigning for longer opening hours at the gym on weekends, as well as looking to develop a system where these facilities can be accessed without one student card. In terms of financial support and indeed transport, I'll be looking to attract a big name sponsor, potentially a transport company, with the eventual aim of lowering transport costs for all clubs. I'll also be looking to develop the outdoor facilities to allow teams to play throughout the winter, which will avoid the backlog of fixtures that has plagued clubs this year. In terms of Team Kent and publicity, I want to have a huge increase in promotion. This will involve using our extensive student media outlets as well as more effective use of the Team Kent social media. I also want to develop a Team Kent website that will be maintained by the student clubs, allowing for more spectators to be aware of the fixtures and results of our teams, and therefore get more involved and make Team Kent not just a sports thing, but a university concept. I'll also be looking to increase the Team Kent presence in university prospectus material with the aim of attracting more students who would otherwise be unaware of our sporting teams. This will also be focused on increasing awareness of the scholarships on offer to ensure that people are able to apply for these scholarships in good time. These are only a few of my policies. The rest of my manifesto is available online. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Jack. And we now move over to Harriet Thompson. Harriet.
Bit shorter. Hello, my name is Harriet Thompson. Some of you may know me as Guinness. It's kind of my nickname. I have 3 main points that I'm going for Sports VP. I want to be its involvement, strength and events. I'm part of 2 sports. I do cheerleading and I also do women's rugby. I was on committee last year as vice captain, and I'm also on the sports exec this year as well. To break down my points a bit, I want to be more involved with your teams. I would love to be able to come and watch at least 1 or 2 of your performances or fixtures. I just want to be a bit more hands-on, a bit more in there, and a bit more involved with what you guys want to do. I also want to strengthen the Team Kent brand. It's a huge thing. We're all part of it. We've all got the uniform. It's something strong, something that I feel there's plenty of scope there to progress with and go further. Talking about that, I'd like to broadcast more. We've got a fantastic new facilities here, and I really feel that they need to be exploited and used. And with the students by us, we need to really showcase our stuff. There's all well and good having all this sports if we need to get it out there to the other people. I'd also like to simplify the administrative process. I know we've had a lot of trouble with kit this year, and I know that Kent Union are doing all they can to try and sort that out. And I'd love to be part of that process and really push it along and get it sorted. I'd also like to help you with your individual problems like sponsorship, as there's government funding out there, there's money there, we just need to find the right way of getting it. Talking about that fundraising is a massive point of my thing. I love events, and I think that, for example, to get more minibuses for our sports teams, I really feel like a sports fun day would be a fantastic way to do that. It'd be, egg and spoon, sack race, something that all university members can get involved with. You don't have to be a sports member to be part of it. So, and that way we can raise money all together. My name's Harriet Thompson. Vote me for your sports VP.
Time there, but thank you very much. And finally, coming up to the podium is Him Wei. Him.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Him Wei, and I'm running to be your VP of Sports. I believe in 3 important ideas. They are recognition, inclusivity, and collaboration. I have chosen these words because I believe they matter. This year, we are striving for recognition for each one of our sportsmen and women. We want to see a day where the university will truly realize the time and dedication that is spent representing this very university. This year's varsity has been a success, but it's not just another win that I'm referring to. I refer to the fact that we have shown the university this year that we in sports are better than their stereotyping. I will push on with this success and continue on this work for recognition until it is finished, until the university can see that the benefits of sports outweigh the stereotypes. Secondly, I and my fellow sports executive members have made efforts to truly make Team Kent a reality, so that people believe we are a team that represents the same community, the same university. We have made progress, but it is not enough. We need to broaden our inclusivity so that those who feel removed, who feel that the idea of Team Kent is only reserved to the mainstream sports, know that we are a team and everyone is a part of it. As someone from a non-mainstream sport, I once shared a similar view, but this is no longer the case. I wish for you to trust me that I aim and fully support all sports clubs as equals and as friends. And lastly, collaboration. Not only with the sports center, but also with the societies and other students and staff. Everyone needs to recognize that the sports center is the home of Team Kent. Everyone needs to recognize that full inclusivity can only be achieved through collaboration with other societies and communities within the university as a whole. My aim is that if I get elected, I do not intend to leave this previous year's work unfinished. I will push on with my own ideas, but first, let's finish what we started. Thank you.
Thank you very much there, Him, and that ends the speeches from the candidates, which moves us swiftly on to questions to the candidates. And we're going to start some group questions, starting with, on my lovely card, it says, Kent Union currently has a policy to support free Wednesdays for postgraduates. How would you campaign for this? And we're going to start with Nina.
Okay, just to clarify, Kent Union has a policy to campaign for free Wednesdays.
Kent Union currently has policy to support free Wednesdays for postgraduates. How would you campaign for this?
Firstly, by clarifying the views of the postgraduates and making sure this is what they want, because obviously only sport makes up a very minimal part of a university, but getting out there and making sure this is what everyone across the university wants. And then if these ideas are to go ahead, obviously stick with what Kent Union say, and we say we have free Wednesdays because it's only one day of the week, and we can spare it in sport. Gives you so many things like employability skills. You become part of a committee, and these are great things that we're not here always just to study a degree. We're here to get life experience and sport and experience, and there are so many things that we gain, not only from being part of a sport, but the extra things that come with this is meeting friends, that they become like the highlight of your university life, as they have for me personally. And as I say, you can become part of committees and just broadening your general horizon. So I would say, as long as people wanted to go ahead and it was the general student consensus, and absolutely lobby to get free Wednesdays for postgraduate students.
Thank you very much, Nina. Jack, you're next.
As a postgraduate student myself, I've noticed that a lot of the postgrads tend to be friends with the postgraduate students. There's not as much interaction with the undergraduates on campus, and I think that by allowing them to join a sport, it would be a fantastic opportunity to meet a lot of new people and all the things that come with playing a sport. In terms of campaigning for this, it's about talking to the graduate school and making sure that they are able to put forward the benefits of sport to the students, as well as putting forward how important it is for the students to be playing sport.
Thank you very much, Jack. Him, where do you stand on this?
I believe in equal opportunity for everyone. So there's a policy already in place for undergraduate studies to be on hold for Wednesday afternoons for sports activities, matches, etc. I do not see why this cannot happen for postgraduates too. On top of that, I am a postgraduate myself, and I am very active in my sport. I don't see why not anyone else should not be given that same opportunity. Yes, we should also approach them and see what they feel on this, but for the sake of equality, I will campaign towards it, and I do not see an issue with it.
Thank you very much, Him. Harriet?
It sounds a fantastic thing. We as a women's rugby team have had a postgrad that helped us out last year, and it was quite upsetting for her because she loved rugby and it was something she was really passionate about, but she never really got to play our games because our fixtures are on Wednesdays, which is a hassle and doesn't work with everyone. To lobby for this, how would I put forward to? I would raise awareness again. Obviously, yeah, ask them and make sure this is exactly what they want. Maybe even see if there's an option for it, creating different opportunities and seeing which way is the best to go for it. I think raising awareness and getting people on board and on side with it would be the best way to push that forward and get it going.
Thank you very much, Harriet. And George?
I think you need to look down the channels of the links between sports and academic success, especially health and well-being. So providing that Wednesday afternoon means that people can play sports, but they don't have to play in a competitive environment. It means they have time off so they can go to the gym, they can be part of recreational sports. And those universities that are more sporty do tend to be higher up on the academic table, so it's to draw that link between academic success and sporting success in participation numbers and in top flight sporting success, and bring that to the attention of the university so they do give the postgrads the opportunity to take part in sport on a Wednesday.
Thank you very much, George. We move on to another group question that comes from Twitter from Natalie, which asks, what will you do to make sport more inclusive for all and get rid of the cliquey stigma attached to it? And we're going to start with Jack.
Well, personally, as a member of what people would refer to as one of the big clubs on campus, I don't recognise there being the cliquey attitude, but I do recognise that people see it as a problem. To make it more inclusive, I mean, without wanting to make it seem as though there is a problem with inclusivity, I just have all the clubs putting out a statement that they are inclusive to all. We don't want to make it an issue, select out certain groups and say, we're open to you, you can join us, because that makes it too much of an issue. But certainly we do need to make some sort of point.
Thank you very much. Him?
Well, I intend to approach any of those communities, those who feel they are removed from sports clubs or major sports, as I would anyone else. I would approach you in person. I would talk to you as a person. One, because to me, it's the best way to show that I'm genuine. It's also a good way to demonstrate respect to each other. Electronic communication is a great way, but it only goes so far. So I would directly approach each person, garner their views, and work out how to bring them a welcome hand into sports.
Thank you very much, Him. George, you're next.
My view on this, on the cliquey status, it could be sort of very exclusive to each other, but we need to open up to everyone to show that being part of sport, you do create these strong friendship groups, and it's proven that people who play sport is a lot higher attainment rate for those who do play sport staying at university. Like building on the back of the Liberation Day success that we had this year, I would love to be able to get liberation training for committees at the start of the year and then give them an incentive to show that they have done this training, something they can put on their documents for refreshers or for Freshers' Fair, to show people that people know that they've gone through this and they can open themselves up and be more inclusive to everyone in the university populace.
10 seconds. Oh, thank you very much. Right, perfect timing. Nina.
In terms of inclusivity and cliqueiness in sport, I have points in my manifesto that actually aim to get rid of the cliqueiness. One of the things that I aim to do is look at inclusion plans for every sports club, and again looking at things like not necessarily pinpointing issues and saying, okay, we've got an issue with this group of people, but make sure that people are aware of certain issues that could arise when members join a club. Also, working with 3-year committee plans is a big thing that I really think we need to work on. So this will look at things again like how do we open up and how do we retain numbers and how do we broaden what we do as a club to ensure that it's open to all of the community at the university, because obviously we're aware as sports members that sporting actually makes up a very tiny minority of our university. So it's about broadening these up and looking at how we can be inclusive to all, and this is another thing that I'd really like to work on is having an awareness in Sport Week, and this is looking at highlighting whether it's smaller clubs, bigger clubs, or just making sure that everyone gets involved with sport really as much as they can.
Thank you very much, Nina. And Harriet, the last word, please.
To try to break down those sort of barriers between them, if there are such. I appreciate the fact a lot about how you form such strong friends, and they're there for you, and you have such a laugh with them, you create so many memories, and it's so much more fun. One of my points was to use media in the sense where I would love for every sports team to have an introduction video to their sport, which sort of explains the group, explains what their training times, their socials, how they work, and to really give a flavour of what that sport is like. And I think that for that easy gateway into it, that easy video that you see or you watch, and it's easy, it's accessible, it's there, and it gives you a taste for it. So I think that'd be a really good way to break it down, so people see that, they're not necessarily cliquey, it's just part of what they are, and I'm open to be part of that, so I could be. I think that'd be a good idea.
Thank you very much, Harriet. Now, I feel like it's been a bit of time since we've heard from Social Media HQ, so we're now going to hear some individual questions from Daisy, if I'm not wrong. Daisy, how are you doing?
I'm good. Have you been missing me? This one is Twitter, and it's from @Serendipity. And this asks Harriet, what do you feel is the most important manifesto point if you would have to prioritise?
Oh, that's a good one. For me, I feel it would be involvement. I would be very hands-on with the team, and it's something that I think would help everyone anywhere. It's not a very pigeon-holed thing. It's such a huge, broad one that to be involved with all these teams and be a part of it is another way to break down everything and make it so much more accessible. And I think that that's what we're here for as Sports VP. You are here for the students. You're representing for the students, and you need to be a part of it. So I think that involvement is definitely the most important one on my one.
Thank you very much, Harriet. So now, Daisy, give us another one if you can.
Hey, this time for George, and it's from Anonymous. It says, how are you financing the new swimming pool and the decrease in travel costs?
So I've been in meetings with Kent Sport, and swimming pool is actually something that they're looking into. It's something they wanted to bring in for the 50th year, but it hasn't been a possibility. But it's something it's the next plan for the redevelopment. We just need to make sure that is secured, and that they put the nail in the coffin and make sure that is those plans are submitted. For the travel costs, I'm looking at, with the website, looking at extra space for offering sponsorship for a new sponsorship from a travel company. So they'd be able to be on the shirt on the new website, offering them space, but not for cash payback, but for subsidies for our Medway and Kent sports teams. So they have to pay less for their transport, whether it be minibus hire or companies such as Regent's Coaches.
Thank you very much for that, George. That's a good question there. So, Daisy, can you give us one more?
I can indeed, this time to Nina. And this is, how would you rework the sports section of the Union website?
In terms of reworking the sports section of the Union website, I would make them more personal to each individual sport. I would hope to make the Kent Union website an individual website for sports only. This is to log things like gym classes on there, so sport doesn't just become sport as a buck sport. A website where sport is college sport, which is sport involvement with the gym, and is sport involvement with obviously our Bucks members, and highlights sports scholars on there, so we know the key people we're looking out for. And this way, I feel like sport will be much more accessible. I've looked at universities like Loughborough that do this very, very well, and for them, sport is a very, very big development, as we know. But yeah, having it all in one place where we go through, and us as committees go through and make individual pages that are very, very personal to our own sport, but also not forgetting the other aspects of sport that there are at university, be it college sport, be it postgraduate sport, be it a gym member that is very involved in sport in that aspect.
10 seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, Daisy, come on, give us some more.
can give you some more, Barney. This one again from the anonymous form, and this is to Jack. Why would you campaign for longer gym opening hours, and when you could campaign for the gym to be open 24/7, 7 days a week?
Well, personally, I feel that it's unrealistic to expect Kent Sport to be able to employ enough staff to keep the gym open 24/7. I'd campaign for longer open hours, particularly on the weekends, because I feel that students that play sport on the weekend or have a job don't have enough time to then go to the gym. So by having the gym open just an extra few hours on a Saturday and a Sunday would make it much easier for so many more people to go to the gym. I know people always turn up with 15 minutes to go before closing time, having not realised that the gym is going to close, and then they just can't train that day. So I think it's much more realistic to promise longer opening hours rather than promising 24/7 hours and then not getting it.
Thank you very much. All right then, Daisy, I think we've got one more left. So
One more from me for a little while, and this is for him. What's more important to you? Inclusivity, recognition, or collaboration?
Well, that is a tough question because to me they're all important. But if I were to pick, then I would go for inclusivity. We've gone a long way to improving sports for our university, mainly for our teams, for Bucks, for our current clubs. We have gone a long way, but I still see a lacking in terms of improving sport for the rest of the university. Inter-college sports is still, as much as it is sport in university, it's separated from us as Team Kent, as union sports. I want to bring that more back. In terms of all the societies, the different ethnic, religious communities, LGBT, they need to be aware that they are fully welcome. And for those who aren't already in sports, we need to extend that welcome hand to fully include all members of the university, not just those who want to do sports ready.
Thank you very much, him. So, the voices are telling me in my head, we're going to another question. So, this is one for the group. So, it reads as, how would you tackle the perceived drinking culture there is in sports clubs? Him, kick us off.
Drinking culture, that's a big one. I do Japanese martial art, and so I get a lot of Japanese students, overseas students, etc., where to them, the British drinking culture is new. It's different for them. Because of that, we don't enforce drinking. For those who do want to drink, by all means, do it. But as I would do with my current club, it would be to make them aware that drinking is part of the culture, but there's no need to enforce it. There's no need to make games revolving around it. It's just a pastime. It's an enjoyment that we can all share together. That's it.
Thank you very much, him. We're now going to move over to Jack.
Well, as him has mentioned, the drinking culture isn't just a part of sport, it's a part of British university culture, really. What I would do is I'd get the clubs to commit to having not sober socials, but socials where the members feel they don't have any pressure to drink. We personally, as a club, don't ever pressure anyone to drink. Anyone's allowed to come along and just take part in the socials and not have anything to do with the drinking. They can take part in all the games. So it's just getting the clubs to commit to sober socials.
Thank you very much, Jack. Okay, we're going to move on to Harriet.
Well, being part of women's rugby, there may be some links to alcohol with that one, but with our socials, there's always the option for you don't have to drink. For example, Heidi, our social sec, sat in the audience over there. She has this fantastic thing of if you're late, and usually there's the punishment for being late, and she makes you down a pint of soda water, which is 1,000,000 times worse than drinking anything else, I can promise you that. So I just think it's just, yet again, it's just raising the awareness of it and putting the options out there for people to be like, you don't have to drink. It's, there are other options, maybe giving ideas out there or a plan for not sober socials, but options for the people that don't want to drink. I just think it's just raising awareness and enforcing the fact that the clubs don't pressure people to drink, and it makes it their choice.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're now going to move over to George.
Yeah, I can see how it's probably one of the biggest barriers to sport for people outside of the sporting community, but I think we just need to raise awareness that it isn't as big as it is pulled up in a lot of tabloid newspapers and a lot of sometimes student media. It isn't that bad. Like a lot of, the majority of sports don't force anyone to drink. But I think we do need to publicise that sports, plenty of sports are also offering socials that have nothing to do with drinking. We go for curry nights with the cricket club, and a lot of these need to be put on top of the list of possibly when you're promoting clubs. That it isn't always the venue night on the Wednesday. There are other socials that you can get involved, even if you don't want to be in the atmosphere of people drinking.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, Nina.
Obviously, not to repeat what everyone else has said, but moving on, having been socials like myself in my previous year on committee, I aim towards having sober socials. But moving away from that point, I think it's really, really important to move away from the drinking culture that is very apparent in every university, which is why, as Sports VP, I aim to highlight other areas of sport to bring to recognition to the university of all of our sports scholars. Why aren't they being recognised more than the drinking culture that goes with them? To look at raising the awareness in sport week and saying, actually, this is what we do as a sports club. Yeah, we all go out drinking, so does every other student, I'm sure. But look at saying this is what we as a sports clubs do. Come and get involved with the sports side of what we do. Raising awareness of the good things that happen in sport, as well as the drinking culture, which is a side note to what actually sport is like at university. And again, in my manifesto, I really hope to get an active in Sport Week to relay it back to healthy living and sport. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, that's a very important issue there, I think very well dealt with. The next question I have is for all of you again, and it says, how will you, in your role, improve varsity for next year? Very simply, and we're going to start with George.
Varsity this year is taking a turn. Some people loved it, some people hated it. It was very Marmite. What they've done has been a real success of turning down the drama that we've had in previous years, and that has obviously mean that we should be able to secure varsity for the future, where it was on tenterhooks. I do believe there are other ways of going about it rather than promoting the heavy friendship. There is a way of having a healthy rivalry and having a competitive game without the strong promotion of friendship and the awkward handshakes that took place in the photos. It's all about the healthy rivalry and making it a fierce competition. But the fierce competition doesn't mean that there has to be crude behaviour on the sidelines. And the supporters need to respect the game as much as the players on the pitch are respecting how hard they are playing the game.
Thank you very much. Nina.
How would I create varsity? I would try and extend varsity back out to a week process because I felt like this year, although it was successful in many, many ways, and we did improve friendship and, as George said, move on to actually being able to have a varsity competition, but making sure that every sport gets the same kind of coverage across varsity, because often smaller sports aren't getting massive crowds because they're overlapped with other bigger sports fixtures on that night. So making sure, extending varsity back out and trying to get a wider coverage of sports taking part, and really, really promoting the smaller games that happen during the week. Because, for example, we've got badminton that partake in, trampolining that compete at a national level, but I'm sure people don't often know about the smaller clubs that are partaking in our varsity event, and looking to include some kind of college sport into our varsity games, and possibly extending it to the Medway campus if this all goes ahead with the union. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Harriet, you're next.
This year's varsity, I think, as I said, there's been some people have absolutely loved it, and then there's some people have been confused as to why it's been shortened. I quite liked the tight impact of it in the way that it was so condensed that it made it quite a big thing. I think that the main thing for varsity again would just be the publicity of it, with the fantastic KTV putting on the sports and streaming it in Woodies was brilliant. And I think it reached far more people that way. And I think very right in the fact that we have to include more clubs, and I'd like to expand it to more individual clubs. But I know that we have the issue with Christchurch not having the same sports teams or same level as we do. But I think that the broadcasting of it, again, I just seem to say this all the time, the broadcasting of it is really important because it'll help promoting it in the right sense, where it is about the healthy
Harriet, I'm
rivalry.
afraid I'm going to have to cut you off. The voices in my head did not warn me, but sorry. Right, Jack, you're next.
I'd like to make varsity slightly longer next year. I think it's been really good this year having it condensed, but I'd like to avoid any fixture clashes, which we've had a few of this year, which has been an issue because some clubs have had less people turning up. I'd also like to increase the coverage. It was absolutely fantastic for the football. I know a lot of people were watching it in their lectures, which probably isn't the best thing, but it's still good to have people being that committed to watching it. I'd like to see that extended across a lot more sports where possible. I'd also like to increase the promotion much more. I'd like it to start very close to the beginning of the second term, whereas this year I felt as though it was rushed this year. It started very close to the actual event. If it was brought forward more, then we could get more people who aren't involved in sports clubs coming and watching. Because at the moment it does feel like it's just sports clubs going to watch their friends.
Thank you very much, Jack. Him, finish us off.
Well, this is difficult because what I want to say everyone said already. But on top of that, I, for one, do want to maintain friendship. Sorry, George. But it's more the fact that... Friendship between us, yeah. But what I'm trying to say is that as much as I want rivalry, I want people to play the hardest, want to win for the university, judging from previous behaviour, which has brought varsity to its end nearly for this year, we need to bring back to what it was originally, and that was what we found out was it was a charity. It was for a good cause and for a friendly competition for a good cause, and we want to maintain that. On top of that, when it comes to publicity, during the event, great, amazing. Prior to the event, not enough. So we need to bring that more. People need to find out more so we can come and watch and support each other.
Thank you very much, Him. Okay, now we're going to move over to another general candidate question, and this simply reads, what are your ideas to continue to improve the Team Kent brand? So we're going to start with Him.
Okay, so improving the Team Kent brand. What is it to us though? That's the question. Team Kent, for sports people, they see it as what we say as one name, one brand. But does everyone see it as that? What I would personally want to see is one day Team Kent to be known throughout United Kingdom, not just of it's just we know that we're Team Kent. But let's say if Bath was playing against our teams and we chant Team Kent, they know that it's us. Not to mention, I want it recognised further by the student body, by the staff members, by the sports centre, by the whole university. They need to recognise that Team Kent represents all the sports clubs, no matter whether it's competitive, recreational, or general fun.
10 seconds.
So to me, Team Kent, it needs to be improved to encompass everyone.
Thank you very much, Him. Right, we're going to move over now to George.
What's been apparent this year is that Team Kent needs to revitalise itself. It needs to rebrand every year, especially with the new intake of freshers. There needs to be branding every year like there was in the first year to really encapsulate and recreate the buzz that we had in that first year. I think the introduction of the new website, making it a lot more accessible for people to get on there, boosting the social media in the first year, the social media was excellent. They're reaching 9,000 followers on Twitter, over 1,000 likes on Facebook, and that needs to be recreated as we go forward. Bringing in Team Medway would also be great, being able to did what we did with Team Kent here and do it on the Medway campus. But also the freshers' perspectives, because if you get the sports into the freshers, be proactive and give them the brochure with all the sports in, then the sports going towards them, it's easier for them to get into sport and to join Team Kent.
Thank you very much. An audience member with a phone. I would ask everyone to turn off their phones, no problem. Right, there we go. We're going to move on to Harriet.
To expand the Team Kent brand, I found this year's varsity, the foam fingers with the bubble hat and the t-shirt worked really well. So I think merchandise is a very, very good way of sort of stepping up the game for broadening it a bit more. Things like Letterman jackets. Cheerleading have a Letterman jacket that's got the Kent Cheer brand on it and stuff like that. I think that introducing more casual, like the hoodies, more casual fun wear might broaden the aspects to less sporting people in a sense. Like, so in unique stuff like that, having that sort of merchandise might expand it a bit more. I feel that the photo shoot when the Team Kent first came out with the big banners was fantastic. Everyone heard about that. It really launched it off, and I think that that needs to be reinforced and get the branding and just get it out there again, explosive, and make people notice and clock Team Kent.
Thank you very much, Harriet. Nina.
Working on revitalising the Team Kent brand is something that's very important, because we need to refresh ideas continuously. Like I say with my 3-year committee plans that I hope to implement, we need this to be a rolling plan, so we work on what was good about the last year and improve on that and work out what didn't quite work and work out why that didn't work and continue to expand Team Kent. I hope Team Kent can cover every sport, well not necessarily every sport, but be it college or Medway. The Team Kent can reach out to the wider students. Team Kent could be a brand that supplies us with our university marks, with our graduation booklets. So expanding Team Kent to the whole of the student body, because at the minute what it does is it alienates sports students from the whole of the university body. So expanding Team Kent out to reach the Medway campus and working with, as we heard, they're working on their Team Medway. So having that as a joint thing again, because it shouldn't be that we're an individual brand. So trying to expand Team Kent to reach the whole of the university body would be what I would do.
Thank you very much, Nina. And last but not least, Jack.
I'd like to see a lot more links between Team Kent and Kent Sport. At the moment, I feel like they're two bodies that are working completely separately from each other. If we bring them together, it'll be much more effective for all the students. Everyone can feel as though they're a part of Team Kent. It's not just the clubs. At the moment, if you Google Team Kent, you get a link to the Kent County Cricket Club, which isn't good enough. We need to be recognised across the United Kingdom as Team Kent. So that means completely changing the website, having a Team Kent and indeed Team Medway central hub that the clubs can control and contribute a lot of stuff towards it. It was an idea that came through this year. It hasn't happened, but I'd like to see it really happen next year. In terms of merchandise, I'd like Team Kent to be on all the club kit as well. We still be recognised as the University of Kent, but I'd like it to say Team Kent somewhere so that everyone can understand what it actually means to be a part of Team Kent.
Thank you very much, Jack. Now, I hear that we've got some more individual questions for the candidates. Time for everyone to probe into their sporting issues, whether they like it or not. Daisy, what have you got for us?
Hello, Barney. I've got one from YouTube. This one from Lauren Harrison, and it's to Jack. In terms of inclusivity and a better website, do you think it would be a valid idea to have a social media officer for every different sports society?
I think it'd be a fantastic idea. I know a lot of clubs have a lot of success with social media officers. We personally in a hockey club don't have one. So it means that it gets shared around a lot and there isn't necessarily continuity with what we're saying. If every club had a social media officer, it would provide somebody who was trained in using the website and could therefore update it so that everyone could work out what was going on with the clubs they wanted to go and watch.
Thank you very much, Jack. Daisy, can you give us one more, please?
Yes, I can. This time from Twitter again, from somebody who calls himself Toasty Dukes. And you want equality for the clubs, but what about the clubs that are so unique? Won't they lose their individuality? For him.
I thought so. No. No, they sorry, no, I do not believe that you will lose your individuality if you were to be more ingrained with the idea of Team Kent or the rest of the sports clubs. I'm, for one, in charge. I'm a martial arts artist. I'm in charge of all the martial arts clubs this year as Team Kent executive, and I've been trying to make them more realise they are welcome and more part of Team Kent than they really realise. That question would mean that one would think that Team Kent is already part of a specific area of sports, but that's not what I want to do. I want Team Kent to encompass sports as everything, not just martial arts or venture sports or mountaineering or team sports, field sports. Everything is all together. We all represent the same university, the same team, same community. So again, no, sorry, I do not think it will affect individuality.
Thank you very much, Him. I was thinking for a second that was going to be the shortest answer we've ever had, but don't worry, it's very well answered. Daisy, can we have another question, please?
Yes, you may. This time again from Twitter, from Rob Keeley, and he asks Harriet a question. He says, what about the fact private companies sponsor sport groups and help them participate in bucks?
So I think that's referring to private sponsorship of sports when their participation with bucks.
Okay. What about, I'm sorry, I don't quite understand the question.
So, what about the fact that private companies sponsor sports teams with their participation within Bucks? How can they help with Bucks? Apologies.
Oh, okay. Sponsorship mainly is the funding for it. Like, to be sponsored by someone, they usually fund you for you to represent them in some way as well. The important things are getting more funding for you will help your club increase. You can get more equipment, get a better coach, or booking spaces, or using your money or towards travel. It's finding most issues with clubs come from the fact that they don't quite have the money that they need to do what they want. So it's a way of getting that funding for them to be able to participate and do what they would like.
Thank you very much for that. Daisy, can we have another question, please?
Yes, you may. This one is from the anonymous form, and it's for Nina. They ask, what will you do in regards to your weekly fixtures, as not all clubs have weekly events?
Okay, in terms of the clubs that do have weekly events, we will be sure to display not only the dates and the location of the event, but also the result of the event. And this will be up to the chairman or captains to come in and to see me personally, and we'll go down and write them on the board. For the clubs that don't have their weekly fixture, then obviously we can't display their weekly events, but we will be displaying what they'll be doing. For example, come along and watch one of our training sessions, or what we're preparing to go to a competition, for example, dance. Why don't we go along and see some of the rehearsals, just so we're all involved in what the sports are doing individually. And if they don't partake in weekly competitions, let's be kept up to date with what they are doing then, and what's the next event they're leading to. Ultimately, by displaying the weekly fixtures, I just aim to keep up the coverage of what sports clubs are doing over the rest of the year. Because obviously around varsity we get a fantastic coverage, but then for the whole other 8, 9, 10 months of the year we don't understand what clubs are doing. It's just about encouraging more social media for clubs.
You just reached perfect timing there. Thank you very much, Nina. Daisy, another question.
Okay, this one again from Twitter. Twitter is just going crazy tonight. This is from @J_Clem92, and it's for George. How would each candidate champion the cause of other sports clubs which are not a part of Bucks?
So I'm thinking that how will you deal with the smaller? So how will you deal with the smaller groups that don't participate in Bucks?
Okay, so firstly, if you don't take part in Bucks, doesn't mean you're necessarily a smaller club. Some of the largest clubs on campus, cheerleading for example, they don't take part in Bucks, but they are one of the biggest sports on campus. I think the ways of championing it is through the social media routes and getting it out there on, like, it doesn't have to be that Team Kent isn't updated just purely on a Wednesday. It needs to be updated through the week, and having someone possibly on the Team Kent exec that's a specialist social media and PR, someone who is looking for a career in that or doing a degree in that really can push all the sports and knows how to do that, especially with an introduction of a website as well. Everyone has the chance to promote themselves on the website with their own section on the website. So I think it's about giving everyone an equal opportunity.
I'm so sorry, I had to cut you off there. Again, I was getting told something and it's all gone a bit awry, but no worries. Thank you very much, very well answered. We're going to move back to general questions now. So on my card I have, should Team Kent focus on having more clubs with more members or developing the clubs that already exist? And that's going to Harriet first.
I don't see why we should shut the door on both of those answers. I think there should be scope for more clubs if they wish to be developed, but also I think that concentrating on the clubs we have at the moment is key. I think that spreading my time or the VP's time over them and developing each club individually is key to strengthening Team Kent as a whole. And I think that a happy sports club leads to a happy Team Kent. So I think that it's very important to develop the smaller clubs, but be welcoming with open arms to other clubs if they wish to start up.
Thank you very much. We're going to move over to Jack.
I completely agree with Harriet. I mean, on the Team Kent executive, we regularly get applications for new clubs, and they're always put forward with fantastic detail. You've got a lot of interest from a lot of members. So it shows that we do need to be open to accepting new clubs, which I would completely be open to. And then, obviously, it's very important to continue to strengthen the clubs we currently have. I know a lot of smaller clubs come in, they might not understand what a bigger task it is to undertake the running of a sports club, so we need to help them develop as well. And the bigger clubs as well, I mean, they can still have problems, so it's about not only welcoming the new, but also strengthening the old.
Thank you very much, Jack. We're going to pass that over to Nina.
Again, there are two individual answers, I feel, to these questions. We need to ideally sit down and discover and continue to increase these big clubs on campus. And one of my aims as your VP will be to have weekly, sorry, I don't know why I said weekly, to have an introduction to your club and what you aim to fulfill over the year. So I know, as your VP, whether you're a small club with 10 members or a club with 200 members, like some of the big clubs on campus has, I want to know what I can do to help you strengthen your club and carry on making you get more members and more participation. Again, through displaying the scholars and through getting links with external companies to come in and help us and government funding. But again, if as I said in my manifesto, if you come to me and you want to start a club, as long as you've got a reasonable plan down, I will put government aid in down, union aid in down in terms of funding and support from me as a VP to help you. So again, working with the big clubs and helping develop smaller clubs.
Thank you very much, Nina. George, you're next.
I think both are very important, but I think there's a way of really tackling both the new clubs and maintaining the large clubs, and that's putting in a structure that all clubs can take on board. Something that is currently being introduced at the moment is the rating or the stripes for clubs, but we need to offer something that clubs can, a structure that they can run their club by, give them all the forms accessibly, and give them all the help they need. So both new clubs and old clubs can run successfully. We have 60 clubs at the moment, or I think it's 54, but there's plenty of room for more clubs. We need to look at funding, because obviously with the more clubs that you have joining, the more funding that each club needs. But with a well-written out proposal and a structure for that club, I can see no reason why we shouldn't be added to the Team Kent roster.
Thank you very much. And lastly, him.
So in terms of new clubs, I want people to understand that the biggest issue why we cannot easily ratify new clubs is because of a combination of cost and training location. As we all know, if you require the sports centre has very limited space already. So if you want training location, then as much as we'll make an effort to help you, and I will make an effort to help you as VP of Sports, but please understand that if you require, for example, the sports centre, then it will be a difficult thing to give you training location. In terms of getting more members, so the question was pathway, more clubs and more members. More clubs, I just answered that. More members, well, more members mean more money for each club, more people to interact with, more friends. As with my inclusivity speech and everything about it, I intend to include that for all. Clubs development, well, we're already doing that thanks to the help of our current VP Sports and coordinator.
Thank you very much, him. Now we come to the final question of the evening. Now, guys, don't worry, this is a nice and easy one. It's one of my favourites, because it doesn't put anyone on the spot, or at least not to my knowledge, which is, why did you run for the role of VP Sport in the first place? And we're going to start with Nina.
I ran for the role of VP Sport because sport to me was something that was quite new. I didn't really get involved in sport until my late teens, and was something that's actually quite bizarre to me. I came to university and suddenly I've been overtaken by sport. I would say I am 80% sport, 20% degree, maybe even 90-10. But I really and honestly want every single person at the University of Kent to have as much fun and feel as passionate about sport as what I do. And I just want everyone to be involved, make it accessible to all, and just have a great time with sport, because it really will change university life. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nina. Him?
Simply put, it's because I care. I've been in this university for 5 years now. I've been part of the sports committee for 5 years. And within these 5 years, I helped develop and improve my current club. I worked with the sports coordinator for these years. I've gone through problems, issues, successes, a lot of things, and it was all for one club. This year, as sports executive, I had to look after a handful of clubs, and that opened it out. And I developed a bond towards this role and towards all the clubs I mentor. Now, I want to run for VP Sports. I want to increase that, not just to every sports club, but now to all the sports in the whole university and all the student body and try and improve sports, not just for our current sport members, but for everyone.
Oh, thank you very much, Ian. Perfectly timed there. We're going to move over to George now. So, George.
I think it started from when I first joined the committee and back in cricket last year, and watching Matt Harris really build on what Hannah Davis has done and build the Team Kent. It has so much potential, and I want to really push it to the next level, and really I want to be up there with the Durhams, the Loughboroughs, the Baths, and really emulate what they've done and push above them. And what was our idols, I want them to be our rivals in the future. And I really want to push the university for participation, recreation, and for our the highest achieving sports clubs. I really want to push it all so we can expand. Because at the moment we only have 65% rate of students participating in sport, as compared to other unis that are reaching percentages of 85%. And we really need to change that around and really push sport at the university.
Thank you very much. Jack, what drew you to the role?
Well, similar to Nina, I've always considered myself to be a Kent sportsman ahead of a Kent student. I've just had such a rewarding time being in my position I've been in within my club, and I've seen how rewarding it's been to help out the freshers in the club, all the members who've had any problems, and I want to do that on a bigger scale. Being able to do it with the Team Kent Executive this year has helped me do that to some extent, but I just want to make Kent a better sporting experience for all. I want people to realise that playing sport makes the university experience so much better. And like Georgia said, I want Kent to be pushing up to the top levels of university sport. I want them to be pushing towards that top 20. Because as we've seen, academic and sporting success seem to go hand in hand. So I think that by boosting sport at the same time will boost student satisfaction and therefore our academic results.
Sport, and it was something that as soon as I came to university, I knew the first thing I'd do was go to the Freshers' Fair and sign up for a sport. It was just something I was going to do. And best decision ever. I've had so much fun. I've made so many friends. Like I started a new sport this year, and it's just something that I love so much that I just want everyone else to be able to have the opportunity to do it. And being on the sports exec this year, I've been able to see the process, how it's run, being on the committee before and seeing it from a club side and then from the main union side. And I just feel like it's just something I'm good at doing. I could do it so well, and I'd promote it and I'd make it bigger, and there's just so much room for expansion. I just feel that I've got the energy and I've got the passion just to take it forward, and I just want everyone to be able to be as fulfilled as I feel.
Thank you very much, Harriet. Well, that is the end of the final question, but before we go, I hear we have a final word from our social media expert over in Social Media HQ. Daisy, what have you got to say?
We just wanted to say goodbye and thank you. Thanks to my team and thanks for everyone to getting in touch. But the fun does not stop here. Tomorrow night we're going to be hosting the President, so get in touch with CQT followed by President. You can do that on our Twitter page, that's at Kent TV. Just use the hashtag CQT President. You can go to Facebook with the same hashtag. You can go over to our website www.ktvlive.co.uk and you can fill in our anonymous form. You can lastly do it on the YouTube. Just post a comment on the bottom there. I won't be with you tomorrow, but the lovely Kathleen will be taking over. And good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daisy. Well, I guess that's it. The final whistle has blown on tonight's candidate question times. Thank you very much to the candidates for VP Sport. You have been fantastic. Can we have a round of applause for the candidates? Well done, guys. I also want to extend a massive thank you to the audience as well. They've been just great sports. Don't forget, guys, this is only just 2/3 of the way through the process. Tomorrow we have the big kahuna, which is President. So all the things you've been hearing today boils down to one person tomorrow, which is the President. You can get in touch with us, hashtag CQT President, through Twitter and Facebook and through YouTube when we're broadcasting. Thank you so much for watching. You've been fantastic. I've been Barnaby Chadwick. Thanks again for watching.